Hello class, so this is division lesson 3. It's your final math assignment. So your step 1 is to watch this video. Step 2 is to complete the assignment, which is on Google Forms. All right, so let's start with the PowerPoint. So today we're going to be talking about dividing by 2, 5, and 10. And just remember what we talked about last lesson is that dividing is sharing. So when you're sharing things equally, you have to make sure you're sharing it equally or it's not dividing. So I'm going to start with 21 counters and I'm going to see if we can make equal groups of 2, 5, or 7. So that would be if I was making an assignment and it said 21 divided by 2. Could I make equal groups? Will I get a whole number? Or divided by 5? Or divided by 10? And we're just going to look at that right now. So I'm going to go over to my whiteboard here that I have. All right, so I have 21 counters. I'm going to see if I can make 5 equal groups. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Oh, do you see I cannot make 5 equal groups of 21? Another way to find out if we can do this is we actually skip count by the 5 until we get to 21. And if we do not land on it, then it is called not divisible. So divisible is when something's able to be divided by whole, in a whole number, as a whole number. So let's count by 5s together. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Uh-oh. So we actually skip 21. We go from 20 to 25. And as we talked about before, when we skip count by 5s, we always end in 0 and 5. So if you know that 5 doesn't land on 21, you could just say it's not divisible. But if you count by it, you know that 20 is divisible by 5, and same with 25, but not 21. All right, so 5 equal groups, not divisible. Okay. If I was to try 10 equal groups, let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here I have 10 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's a second group of 10. And I have 1 left over as well. So 21 is not divisible by 10. And I also could know this when I count by tens, you go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all of those numbers that end in 0. So when you are counting by tens, if the number does not end in 0, it will not be divisible by 10. So the big word we're looking at today is divisible. Okay. And 5 and 10 are both not divisible. In 21. So when you're looking at 21, 5 and 10 are not divisible. Okay, it means you can't divide equally. All right, so let's try 2 equal groups. Let's see if we can do this. 3 on both sides. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my goodness. So again, we have 10, 20, 21. So is 21 divisible by 2? No. And when we count by 2s, as we've looked at before, we know that we go 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, etc. And from what you see, they end in 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. And what I notice about those numbers, and what I would normally ask you is, are they even or odd? You would have to tell me that they are all even. So when we look at 21, is 21 even or odd? 21 ends in a 1, so it is an odd number. So when you're finding out if a number is divisible by 2, you have to look at if it's even or not. If it's even, it is divisible by 2. But if it's not even, it is not divisible. And we know that only even numbers gives you fair pairs, right? we've talked about before. So let's look at a third number. So 5, 10, and 2 are not divisible by 21. I'm going to try groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 equal groups there. I'm going to put the same amount in each one. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 plus 7 is 21. They are all equal groups. 3 is divisible by 20, or 21 is divisible by 3. It's also divisible by how many is in each group, which is 7. So 7 and 3 are numbers that are both divisible when you're looking at 21. Okay. So if I was to make this into a division sentence, let's keep these groups together. When you're dividing, we always start with the total. Always start with the total. Don't forget that. So our total is 21. We know that there's 21. And then we divide it by, we could divide it by 3 because we have 3 groups there. And our answer would be 7 because we have 7 in each group. Or we could go 21 divided by 7, which is how many there is in each group. And our answer would be how many groups there are. It would be 3. Cool, huh? All right. So when you can make equal groups, you know if the number is divisible. All right, back to the PowerPoint. Oops. For some reason I got signed out. That's weird. No worries. I'll just sign right back in. Okay. So back to the PowerPoint. So with 21 counters, can we make equal groups of 2, 5, or 10? No, they are not divisible. It is divisible, though, by 3 and 7 we talked about. All right, so there are 20 children in Mr. Carlson's class. Hey, that's how many students I have in my class. Can Mr. Carlson make 5 equal groups? 2 equal groups? How many children will be in each group? So remember what we talked about when we skip count by 5s, we go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. All of those numbers end in 0 or 5. Does 20 end in 0 or 5? It does. So it actually is divisible. And then when we looked at things that are divisible, numbers that are divisible by 2, we talked about how 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Numbers that are divisible by 2 end in 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Does 20 end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? It does. So 20 is divisible by 2 and it is divisible by 5. So let's look at, you can also use an array to model the groups. So Mr. Carlson can make 5 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of 4 children, 1, 2, 3, 4. So each group has 4 children in it. So 20 can be divided into 5 groups of 4. You say 20 is divisible by 5. 20 is also divisible by 4. Mr. Carlson can make 2 groups, 1 group, 2 groups, of 10 children. So each of these groups, each of these rows has 10 children in it. 20 can be divided into 2 groups of 10. 20 is divisible by 2. So numbers can be divisible by more than just 2 numbers. It can be like 21, we found out was divisible by 3 and 7. It can also always divisible by 1 in itself. So there's, unless then, yeah, we'll go more into that later on, or you will next year, but so there's sometimes more than 1 divisor, and sometimes there isn't. Or sometimes there's only 2, and other times there's more than 2. So you can only have a minimum of 2, okay, divisors, unless it's 1, of course. All right. So there are 23 children in Miss Dawson's class. Can Miss Dawson make groups of 5, groups of 10? Is 23 even or odd? We want to think about that first. It ends in 3. 3 is an odd number. So just off the top of our head, we know that when we skip count by 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, the numbers only end in 0 or 5. Does 23 end in 0 or 5? No, it is not divisible by 5. And we could also put this in an array and see that we don't have enough to make equal groups, so it is also not divisible. Is it divisible by 10? So remember we talked about when we're skip counting by 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, the number always ends in 0. Does 23 end in 0? No. So from what we know, 10 is not a divisor of 23. And we can see that in the array as well, because we have 2 groups of 10 and then 3 left over. So 23 is 2 groups of 10 with 3 left over. 23 is not divisible by 10. Miss Dawson cannot make groups of 10. Got it? All right, so now for our assignment. All right, so dividing by 2, 5, and 10. So don't forget to put your name here, and you're going to use the picture for the first question. Divide, use the picture if needed. So if we have a total of 8, because remember, when we divide, we always start with our total, the total number, right, of items that you're talking about, or just numbers. So a total of 8. See, we have 8 gifts here, and we're dividing it by 2. So if we were to put this in 2 equal groups, how many is in each group? Split that right down the middle. So 8 divided by 2 is, if you're having trouble doing that, you can actually skip count by the second number to the first number. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So how many times did you skip count? That's your answer. All right, number 2, same thing. So 35 divided by 5. So if you were to put these into 5 equal groups, how many is in each group? It's actually laid out really nice for you. 5 equal groups, how many is in each group? If you don't want to do that way, you can actually skip count by the second number to the first number. So we're skip counting by 5 and finding out how many times we count to get to 35. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. How many times did we skip count? You write your answer here. 50 divided by 10, same thing. 12 divided by 2, 5 divided by 5, 14 divided by 2, 35 divided by 5, 30 divided by 10, 6 divided by 2, and 9 divided by 3. All right, good luck and enjoy your last math assignment. I know you guys are going to do fantastic, and I really will miss being your teacher.